Hi, welcome back to Joel's DIY. So I'm back again with part 5 of my vinyl collection, and where I left off was actually the 70s, A to I believe A to D, and today we're going to be sharing from E all the way up to GA, I guess. So I'm very excited because there's lots of vinyls to go over, and without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So my first record for this episode is going to be the Eagles' Hotel California. Another one that's in most people's record collection, I would assume. The Eagles are a very popular band, and got some classics here. Obviously, the title track, Hotel California, about most of my favorites. But I also really like Life in the Fast Lane, obviously. And I also enjoy, let me see if I can get some of the, I think they only have the title song lyrics here, so I'm not very good remembering the names of the songs, so I'm going to go ahead and read them off the record sleeve. New Kid in Town is pretty cool. Wasted Time, Pretty Maids, The Last Resort. So all classic songs in my opinion. From the Eagles, great album, and Hotel California is pretty timeless. Okay, and then another record that's kind of, I think it was the best-selling album of all time recently, I think, and that is the Eagles' Greatest Hits. All the classic Eagles songs are in here. Don't need to say much about this album because I think this album is pretty much in probably everyone's collection, even if they sort of like only the hits of the Eagles. So Take It Easy, Witchy Woman, Lying Eyes, Desperado, Best of My Love, Take It to the Limit, Tequila Sunrise. I mean, all classics, so I don't need to say much about this album. Next up is Eagle on the Border. It's not one of their best albums. I mean, some people might disagree with me because I don't see a lot of my favorite songs here. I mean, I do see The Best of My Love, Midnight Flyer, On the Border. So, I mean, a couple of good songs here, but I don't think it's one of the best Eagles albums or anything like that. But it definitely needed to put on my collection when I found it at the Goodwill. Next up is One of These Nights. So this is one of the Eagles' better albums. It's got, the title track is great, One of These Nights. Hollywood Waltz, Lying Eyes, Take It to the Limit. Yeah, so great album. Next up is the Eagles Desperado. I know this is this is one of the favorites of the Eagles fans. Obviously, I like the title track. I really love Tequila Sunrise, really good song there. Saturday Night. Desperado, obviously, so great album. This would probably be one of my favorite Eagles albums, other than Hotel California, and that would be their last album before they broke up, which is The Long Run. Always love all the songs here. The Long Run, obviously, is one of my favorites. I Can't Tell You Why, definitely an FM classic. In the City is one of the songs that I first heard when I saw the Warriors movie from the 70s. I don't know if many of you are familiar with that movie. But I first heard the song In the City in that movie. So I didn't know it was Joe Walsh, but he did his own version with the Eagles. So it's definitely one of my songs that I like. I like Disco Strangler. Heartache Tonight, obviously it's a good song. So great album. Next up is Earth, Wind & Fire, Volume 1, The Best Of. So, classic stuff from the 70s. Let's see if I can get... So, September, definitely one of my favorite songs. Gotta Get You Into My Life. That's the Way of the World. Fantasy. So, great music. Next up is the Edgar Winter Group. This is an album my dad used to play quite a bit in the house when I was a kid. So I know the album from then. Good songs here. You got Frankenstein, Free Ride. Obviously, it's a kind of a radio classic. Round and Round, Hanging Around. We all had a real good time. So good songs in this album. Have not listened to this. Edgar Winter's White Trash. Haven't really had a chance to listen to this because I just barely got it. But I'm assuming it's probably as good as the first one. I'm not sure. Haven't really read too many reviews about the album online. So, but yeah, can't wait to listen to it when I get a chance. ELO's Greatest Hits. Not a huge ELO fan, even though I do have several of their albums. But I bought them mainly because I've been told that they're a great progressive rock band, and I sometimes do like to listen to that kind of stuff. Evil Woman is kind of a FM radio staple. Let's see. Sweet Talking Woman, Strange Magic. So good, solid songs there. This is supposed to be Electrolyte Orchestra or ELO's greatest album, from what I heard. Haven't had a chance to listen to it, but it does have Rocaria, Shangri-La, So Fine. So get a chance to listen to that. Electrolyte Orchestra, Out of the Blue. So this is another album that I found. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to listen to this, but I should. Once I get into that progressive rock mood, I don't, you kind of have to sometimes be in a mood to listen to stuff like this, So, but I'm sure it's going to be great, and I can't wait to listen to it when I get a chance. Next up is another very common album that most people have in their record collection. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Elton John. So it's probably one of his best albums. Benny and the Jets, Candle in the Wind, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Saturday's Night's All Right for Fighting. It's a lot of classics here. Honky Chateau, Elton John. Haven't had a chance to listen to this, but it's got Rocket Man. So gonna need some time to listen to this because I heard it's pretty good. Elton John Greatest Hits. So I couldn't really pass this up because it's got all the good songs there. You got Daniel, Saturday Night's All Right, Rocket Man, Benny and the Jets, Don't Let the Sound Go Down on Me, Crocodile Rock. So yeah, you got all the Elton Johns here. And Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player. So you got Daniel, Crocodile Rock. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to really listen to this, the whole thing, but I'm sure it's pretty good. Then Elton John's Greatest Hits Volume 2. So I haven't had a chance to listen to this. I'm not convinced if it's as good as Volume 1, but definitely give it a chance when I get a chance to do that. There's some water damage there. And then this is another album that people usually praise a lot from Elton John. That's Captain Fantastic. I haven't had a chance to listen to this, but I know that this is kind of like one of his albums where he really was at his peak creatively. So I haven't had a chance to listen to this, but when I do, I will. Elvis Costello, This Year's Model. So I think this is usually number 1 or number 2 in people's favorite Elvis Costello's albums. But I've listened to this and I love it. I love the sound. It kind of has that New York feel to it. You got No Action, This Year's Girl, You Belong to Me, Radio. So classic songs here. This is usually number 1 in a lot of people's list of favorite Elvis Costello albums. My Aim Is True. And you got No Dancing, Allison. You got I'm Not Angry, End of the World, Waiting for the End of the World. Elvis Costello and the Attractions. Armed Forces. It's another popular album. Haven't had a chance to listen to it, but I will when I get a chance. Now, all these albums I haven't really had a chance to listen to. I've heard a lot of good things about them, and when that happens, I usually pick them up because they're kind of like on my to-do list to listen to them. But I got Emerson, Lake and Palmer's first album. Interesting story about this album. When I picked this album up and cleaned it up and stuff like that, usually the things that I do when I first buy an album, I noticed there was a Dear John letter inside this album. And it was kind of funny because I read it and I always wondered like how old that thing could be. Obviously, I'm not going to show it here because I don't want to out anyone, but it was just an interesting thing to find a Dear John letter in here. Someone breaking up, and putting in whoever's album it was to find. I don't know. But haven't had a chance to listen to Emerson, Lake and Palmer. It's in my to-do list, but I do have the album. And then next up is Trilogy. Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Still haven't had a chance to listen to it. And then I heard a lot of good things about this album. This is Brain Salad Surgery, prog rock. Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Haven't had a chance to listen to this, but it's in my to-do list. Next up is definitely my jam, Eric Clapton, first album. Got some good stuff here. You got After Midnight, Loving You, Loving Me, Let It Rain, Don't Know Why. So good songs here. Debut album. And then history of Eric Clapton. So you got some of his blues stuff with when he was in the Blues Breakers, and you have some of his more newer stuff like Leo, or newer for that time when this came out. So Crossroads, Spoonful. So some of the Cream stuff in here. So it's got a real mix of basically all his best work. It's called The History of Eric Clapton. This is a pretty common album to find. Pretty easy to find. It wasn't really expensive at all. I was surprised it only cost me like around $5 or $10 or something like that. But this was a while back, so it might be more expensive now. Then you got Eric Clapton, Slow Hand. So definitely a very popular album of Clapton's. You got Cocaine, Wonderful Tonight, Lay Down Sally, Peaches and Diesel, May You Never. So classic album here. Eric Clapton, Slow Hand. I got a couple of Faces albums here. So this was the greatest hits. I don't think this ever has been released on CD. And this is one of the first albums that I got, and that introduced me to the Faces. Faces, Snakes and Ladders. Really enjoy this album. Some of the songs that I like, You Can Make Me Dance or Sing Anything, Pool Hall Richard, Ooh La La, Sweet Lady Mary, Flying. So good songs here. Then the Faces, Long Player. So Bad and Ruin. I first heard that song on The Sopranos, and that made me want to get into the Faces and kind of listen to their music and enjoy their music. Maybe I'm Amazed. On the Beach, I Feel So Good, Sweet Lady Mary. So the Faces. A Nod Is As Good As a Wink. So Miss Judy's Farm. Stay With Me, All You Need, You're So Rude. So real good songs from the Faces on that one. And here's a couple of, again, very popular albums that most people have in their collection. I got Fleetwood Mac, the first album. So Monday Morning, Rhiannon, Landslide. So don't need to be saying more about that. And of course the other album, Rumors. So Dreams, Don't Stop. Okay. So very popular album. And then I got Foghat. So this is another band that I first listened to in the movie Dazed and Confused. I like their cover of I Just Want to Make Love to You. So I got this album. And their music is great. Great 70s type of music that I really enjoy a lot. I'll sometimes even play this on 8-track if I have it. So good album. Haven't listened too much to this one. It's maybe in the top 5 best Foghat albums, but I haven't really spent too much time listening to this one. So Fool for the City. Got some great songs here. Slow Ride. Drive Me Home. Take It or Leave It. So great album there. Stone Blue. Haven't spent too much time listening to this. It's in the top 5 of Foghat albums, so I probably will give this a good listen to when I get a chance. Yes, here is the live album. So Foghat Live. So this is the album that most people recommend getting if you're trying to get into Foghat, because it's got all the best songs played live, and this was a great show and a great listen to. So I recommend it too as well. Good album. It's got the cutout stuff there. Pretty cool. We got George Harrison, All Things Must Pass. So one of my favorite post Beatles breakup solo albums from the members of the Beatles. Really enjoyed this album. So I would say I really like side 1 and side 2, which has, you know, I'll Have You Anytime, My Sweet Lord, Wawa, Isn't It a Pity. So it's got all the classic What Is Life, you know. So, but the album is all great, you know. I just really enjoyed probably side 1. I really like the song Beware of Darkness. That's on side 3. So good stuff here. All Things Must Pass. So I think overall it's a great album. So definitely a classic. Okay, and then here's an album I haven't spent too much. I probably only listened to this once, and that's the Concert for Bangladesh. It's one of the first kind of charitable cause concerts back in the early 70s that George Harrison did for people dying in Bangladesh of starvation. So he made that benefit or charity concert. So it's kind of like an all-star thing. I've only listened to it once because I think this copy is a little bit scratched up, so I really couldn't listen to the whole thing. But I should probably upload it from iTunes or something and listen to it. But yeah. Then I got George Harrison, Living in the Material World. So great album. Give Me Love. Really like that song. Living in the Material World. The day the world gets around. That is all. So good stuff here, George Harrison. Living in the Material World. Haven't spent too much time listening to this, but this is George Harrison's Self-Titled. I've heard this album's okay. It's kind of like average. I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but when I get a chance, I will. And then I got Dark Horse. So I haven't had a chance to listen to this either. I just got this not that long ago. Obviously, someone else owned it. It's a used copy. But like the cover art, it's kind of cool. Kind of reminds you of Sgt. Pepper's, I guess. Didn't really like this album too much. I think it was kind of just average to low average for my taste. I mean, I did enjoy All Those Years Ago, but not really that great of an album. I guess I should probably give it another listen to. But yeah, it was just okay, I guess. So thank you for joining me today. I look forward to doing part 6, and hopefully we can finish the 70s and move on to the 80s soon. So with that said, thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.